Welcome to the Daily Fantasy 5 for today, Tuesday, April 23rd. This is episode 63, and we are bringing the 5 things you need to know today in the world of fantasy sports. Today, we have some baseball news, some baseball injuries. Then we're going to talk about the NBA slate tonight for daily fantasy basketball. And we're going to end the show with some draft talk. I'm bringing you the 3 teams that had the most at stake in this year's 2019 NFL draft. So stay tuned for that as some bonus coverage at the end of this show. But before we get going, let's talk about mathradio.com. They are the sponsors of this show. They bring you online math courses for your children ages 7 through 17. You can go there to help your kids do better in school, help them get better grades, improve their test scores, and even help them get into college by prepping for the SAT. We have online SAT courses there at mathradio.com for as little as $9.99 for a lifetime membership. Go to www.mathradio today. All right. So let's get started with the baseball news first. First, we have some bad news with some injuries in Pittsburgh and Boston. Let's start in Pittsburgh. As said, man, Nick Birdy, he returned from Tommy John surgery a couple years ago. He went down again last night with an arm injury. He had been pitching much, much better. It looks like he has blown out his arm. He might be going through another long rehab. So far this season, he had 17 Ks in 8 1/3 innings. He could have been the closer by the All-Star break, but now that is all gone, and our fantasy hopes and dreams are squashed. All right. Good luck, Nick Birdy. Hopefully you make a nice comeback. All right, let's move on to Boston, where we have Nathan Eovaldi. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with elbow surgery, another starting pitcher going down. He's an 8-year vet. He's having kind of a down year this year. He's got a 6.0 ERA with a 1.52 whip and a horrible strikeout ratio. So I don't think this is a big loss. Hopefully you're not starting Nathan Eovaldi in any fantasy format. All right. Number 3, we have some actually good news in baseball. I know it's like a miracle, but we have some good news. Eric DeGrom from the New York Mets, he had an elbow injury on Saturday. We talked about it on this show. Well, he had his MRI yesterday, and it came back clean. Unbelievable. I didn't know MRIs were allowed to come back clean. I actually have an MRI getting read tomorrow on Wednesday's show. Hopefully it comes back clean as well. We've got some back and knee stuff going on with me, but let's talk about DeGrom. With that clean bill of health, he is going to go ahead and make his scheduled start on Saturday. Good news for Mets fans and DeGrom owners. All right, let's transition out of baseball and talk about the slate of NBA games tonight. The Magic are the first game they take on Toronto at 7 o'clock tonight. So you need to get your daily fantasy picks in early today. Let's see. The Magic are underdogs by 11.5 points. And that game, again, tips off at 7. The next game is the Nets at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is favored by 8.5. And that game tips at 8 o'clock. We also have the Spurs at the Nuggets. Nuggets are favored by 5.5. That game is at 9:30. This is the only game that isn't a closeout situation. If Toronto, Philadelphia, or Portland win, they all close out their series. But the Spurs and Nuggets are tied at 2 games each, and the Nuggets are favored by 5.5 in this game. Finally, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder at the Portland Trailblazers. Portland is a 3.5-point favorite. This game will tip at 10:30, and also, like I said, a closeout game. If I'm going to bet this slate of games, I'm going to do a 3-team parlay, just a straight winners parlay. So I'm going to take Philadelphia, Denver, and Portland all to win. They're all home favorites, and you're going to get 2-1 on your money for that. So that would be my pick in this slate of NBA games. Let's talk fantasy. First of all, I want to mention Joel Embiid. So I'm sick and tired of what Philadelphia is doing. They say Embiid's out, and then 10 minutes before the tip, he starts. There's no way you can put him in your fantasy lineup if they say he's out, and then lineups are closed before the tip. There's just nothing we can do about it. So my advice is, if you're going to play a big tournament, make one team where you're starting Joel Embiid and one team where you're not. All right, because if Joel Embiid starts, he's going to be amazing, right? He's been killing the 76ers, right? So then at least you have a chance to win, and if not, at least you have your other spot where you've got a shot to win the money. But if you're in a head-to-head matchup, you just can't start him. And if the guy you're playing is in starting him, you're probably in trouble if he starts, and then you're automatically going to win if he doesn't, because he's costing, I think, $11,000. So anyway, my 2 biggest plays tonight are Joe Harris. He's 0 for his last 12 3-point shots. That can't last forever. He's only going for 4,300, and he is the highest rated player on Roto Grinders with a 5.76 multiplier. And then the other guy I love tonight is Westbrook. Westbrook in closeout games goes nuts. I believe it was 2 years ago when he put up 40 shots. I mean, the guy is a maniac. So that game, he's going for 11,500, and he has a 5.15 multiplier. He would be my big money splash. If I was playing a tournament and I wanted to just go all in, I would go Embiid and Westbrook, hoping that Embiid plays. And then with Westbrook, those are two players who could get you 150 points between them tonight. Seriously, they are that good. All right, that's it for the regular Daily Fantasy 5 portion of the show. We're going to move on now to the NBA draft. Oh, I'm sorry, not the NBA draft, the NFL draft. It is draft week here, and we're going to talk about three teams who had the most at stake here in the NFL draft of 2019. I'm going to start with the Packers. Last year they were 6-9 on DVOA. They were, let's see here, 7th on offense and 29th on defense. A big spread there. They have 10 draft picks in this draft. They have picks number 12, 30, and 44. Then they have 2 4th-round picks and 2 6th-round picks. So with 12, 30, and 44, you've got a lot of ammunition. Their biggest needs are linebacker, wide receiver, tight end, and edge. And, of course, they need Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy. Now, I think that you got basically two options here. You can go with linebacker or edge, right, at number 12. Okay, so if you're talking linebacker, you're talking one of the Devons, Devin White, Devin Bush. They might both be gone, but it's possible they're there. Or you could use, a 4th-round pick, your 44th pick to move up to grab one of those guys. Or edge, talking about like Ed Oliver or Brian Burns, if you want to move up to, say, where Tampa is at 5. I certainly think the Packers could move up to that slot. If you want to stay where you're at, you could go for Hackinson, if he's there at number 12, get yourself a tight end to give Aaron Rodgers more weapons. But I would look for a defensive player at number 12, just see which either linebacker or edge falls to you. And then with that 30th pick, you can help out Aaron Rodgers and pick up maybe Fant, the other Iowa tight end. You might have to move up a little bit to get him, but you've got plenty of ammo to do it with all those 4th-round picks. So that would be my advice for the Packers. I think with an excellent draft here where you're picking 3 or 4 starters, you can catapult yourself not only into the playoffs, but into the Super Bowl, because you got Aaron Rodgers. If you surround him with a little bit more help on offense and a little bit better defense, right, this team could be special. Speaking about teams that can be special, let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Not my favorite team in the world, but they were great last year. DVOA ranked 10th on offense, 10th on defense. They were 10-6, all 10s. They won their wild card game, lost in the divisional round. I certainly think with a healthy Andrew Luck and some added ammunition in this draft, they could be in the Super Bowl as well. They have picks 26, 34, and 59, so they have 3 picks in the top 60. They have an extra 4th-round pick, which is all very nice, and 9 picks overall. So this is a huge draft for the Indianapolis Colts, as they could also catapult themselves to Super Bowl contention. All right, let's talk about their needs. They also need an edge, interior defensive line, so basically anybody on the line, maybe another defensive back. Now, their offensive line is good, but I would like to make their offensive line, which is already a strength, an even bigger strength. They drafted Nelson last year. I mean, could they go with another offensive lineman this year? At 26, you got to think that somebody like Josh Jacobs or Jacoby Ford could be there for them just to stay there and draft another offensive line and make one strength even stronger, right? They could have one of the best lines in football. And for a team that likes to run the ball and keep Andrew Luck safe, that might be a good option for them. But if they want to go the other route, they could stay at 26 and try to get a defensive back like Greedy Williams or Brian Murphy. One of them might still be there. Interior defensive lineman that might be there, Christian Wilkins, Jeremy Tillery. All 4 of those guys could be there at 26. However, I think a bigger impact on the defensive side would be to trade up and go after someone like Brian Burns, Ed Oliver, Clelin Ferrell. Any of those guys could drop to, say, 15. If you want to get a trade with Washington, that's possible. Offer them, say, the 34th pick, your 59th pick, and one of the 4th-round picks. Seems possible. Washington, I would think, would want to trade down if their quarterback isn't there. You could also trade up to the top 5 all the way to Tampa to grab one of the big boys, but I mean, that's going to cost you a lot, right? Your 1st-round pick, your 2nd-round pick, maybe an additional 2nd-round pick. Seems like a high price to pay, but all those things are options for the Indianapolis Colts. But if you can just add, stick with my plan, add 2 defensive players and add another offensive lineman, this team will be cooking with grease. They will be ready to go, and I think the Colts could also catapult themselves to the Super Bowl. All right, finally, this one might not make a lot of sense to people. Are the New England Patriots the Super Bowl winners? Why is this draft important for them? They just won the Super Bowl. Well, it's important because they have 12 overall picks and their quarterback is 42 years old. So I would like to see the Patriots come away for this draft with the chosen one. I'm talking about Rosen. So if Arizona goes ahead and drafts the quarterback first, they're going to need to move Rosen. If they're not getting that first round pick, could the Patriots offer picks number 56 and 64? It seems like an option to me, right? Arizona needs all the help they can get. 2 picks like this could really be great for Arizona. And you would have Rosen under cost control for the next 4 years, back up Brady for the next 2, maybe even 1 year, and then let Rosen start. The transition from Brady to the new era will be so much easier if you already have a, franchise quarterback in place. I think Rosen's good. I think he was in a bad situation last year. This could be a great move for the Patriots. But with that first round pick, they have the 32nd overall pick, obviously. They have 6 in the top 101, 12 overall. I already mentioned that. Their needs are wide receiver, tight end, obviously. Edge, which they don't care about, which is crazy. Defensive line, offensive line. I feel like the Patriots, like the Colts, could keep improving their offensive line, make a strength another strength. At 32, there should be some good players there. But I think there will be a lot of wide receivers there that you can go out and get. But what I really would love to see the Patriots do if they're not going for Rosen, use some of that ammunition. You're not going to be able to keep 12 players on the roster. Trade up and get one of those Iowa tight ends. The Iowa tight ends, what are their names? Fant and Hackinson should both be amazing. And, they're not going to be Gronk, right? But you need someone. Brady loves to throw to the tight end. Go up there and get your guy. If not, can they get Hollywood Brown? Can they get one of these wide receivers to go in there and help them? They desperately need help at wide receiver. So I need to see the Patriots come away with some wide receiver help, some tight end help. They need defensive line help. They need a quarterback of the future. They have a lot of needs for a Super Bowl champion, basically because Gronk retired and they don't like to play defensive linemen. So those are my 3 teams who I think have the most at stake in the 2019 NFL draft: the Packers, Colts, and Patriots. If any of them have a great draft, I think they can go back and either win the Super Bowl or at least get there. All right. That's it today for the Daily Fantasy 5. I hope you enjoyed this draft coverage. Tomorrow, we're going to have some more extra draft coverage. Wednesday is tomorrow. We're going to do our 5 offensive fantasy players to come from this draft. So who will be the top 5 players to draft on offense from this NFL draft? So that'll be tomorrow along with our regular show. And please visit mathradio.com. Please like and subscribe to this show if you haven't already. Go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and a review. We would greatly appreciate it. Visit www.mathradio.com, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.